Will this go down as the most intriguing, the most unpredictable election campaign for many, many years? I don't know. We tend to say it about every one of them. I mean, 2019, I think we were sort of already aware that Jeremy Corbyn probably isn't going to become our Prime Minister. But those opinion polls, he wasn't polling as bad as the Conservatives are polling now, put it that way. And in 2017, of course, when Corbyn fought with Theresa May, there really was some turmoil there because the opinion poll gap, originally in favour of Theresa May, began to narrow and narrow and narrow. Do you remember, by a daily basis, it was getting down into single digits. Really? The old communist is going to beat school teacher, headmistress, squeaky girl, top girl, Theresa May? Really? Could that happen? Well, it didn't in the event, but it got very close. And this time around, of course, there are a number of things to consider here. And I suppose, essentially, the inclusion of reform into the equation has been the big game changer for a whole number of reasons. Nonetheless, you've seen the predictions and what the poll tracking looks like. It's pretty horrific for the Conservative Party. The latest opinion poll showing that the Conservatives could be down to, 64 MPs. Starmer polling in over 400 or something. I mean, these are just incredible numbers. Keir Starmer doing better than Tony Blair in terms of a majority and number of MPs, not necessarily in terms of the vote share, but that's the system we have. So anyway, in the wake of all of this upset and the turmoil, Boris Johnson pitches up like a bad penny. Up comes Boris to make it all better again. Well, that's the idea. Now, if you were a massive Boris fangirl or fanboy, then you'd have probably been quite pleased to see him. But I'm detecting that over the last sort of almost 2 years since Boris went for the hills and trod that well-known path to political oblivion, that even those that really supported Boris Johnson have kind of, slightly cooled their enthusiasm for Boris. And some perhaps now seeing what others had warned, that maybe, this was a guy with a lot of puff, a lot of enthusiasm, but actually when it come to getting a straight answer, it was very hard to know where this fella stood. Nonetheless, he's joined the election campaign and he's gone for it. He's sat out and done what he said he was going to do, and he's talked about the horrors of a Labour landslide. He's warned Tory voters that Labour would whack up taxes and persecute private enterprise and education and healthcare. He says all this is coming now, this week, this gigantic Labour majority pregnant with horrors, because even though Labour's share of the vote is far lower than ours was in 2019, even though Starmer's record low approval ratings for a man in his position, our system will deliver a super majority because too many good, kind, moderate Tories are about to vote for other parties and thereby get exactly the opposite of what they really want. Is Boris Johnson... He might be right on that point. He's certainly not the first person to observe the split in the Tory vote and the lack of enthusiasm for the Tory vote. But is Boris Johnson... If you think about how many seats the Tories are likely to win tomorrow, is his inclusion... and we'll play some clips in a second. Is his inclusion in the campaign likely to damage the party, or is it likely to increase their chances of getting a few more MPs? I don't think it's going to make any difference. In fact, on balance, I wonder if it might actually damage them.